This is just AMZN on Thursday, February 6th, 2020. Take a look at the 5-minute today. We had a quick spike down into 2025.57, and it did recover right back up to the old all-time high, 2050.50. Pushed through a little bit, and just like yesterday, where we kind of grinded sideways right back up into our downtrend channel, it did that again today. Came right into it with a hammer. This actually looks like a small triangle like this, and this is the breakout. And then with our resistance here, hopefully none of us were buying on a breakout, but then it actually broke down, taking out the low here with the hammer, and probably actually stopped some people out. So this was definitely a false breakout. Came down in here, looked like it was going to go at it again, and then again just ran into our downtrend channel. It did knock down. I thought it was going to break down here, running into both 2050.50 and the downtrend channel. I thought it would break down similar to something like this, where it broke down into the close a little bit, and it didn't do that. It just kept going sideways. So really, we went sideways from like in here, like 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So for about 4 hours, we were just completely sideways. So I think today was a little bit more of a trapping day, but early in the morning, we got a really nice hammer on this pullback, another hammer, and then we were back up into the channel on the next candle. And so what's really interesting with this is with these hammers down here, if we go look at some calls, and this is the 2075 call, you had a really nice hammer over here. So 2075, you're way out of the money, didn't get close to it today. And so look at the price. You know, we're between 3 and 2. So really, you could have just let this hammer play out. I mean, again, looking this far away. So let's just think about, we're this far away. Let's just see how this plays out. This hammer is $58 in height, in range. You didn't even have to have it set up on this hammer. You could have let that one play out and then let it move, and it comes right back into that same price of that hammer. You didn't even need a whole $100 risk, but you still could have set it up, buying at 3 and a stop down at 2, and it would have entered you in either here or here or here, anywhere along here after that hammer, 3 by 2. Didn't come close to 2 at all. Actually stayed, once it's got above here, stayed really right above 250. Now with spreads and stuff, maybe it actually dipped down and just didn't fill anybody there. But anyway, you still could have done 3 by 2, $100 risk, anywhere before really 950. I mean 945. So this candle happened at 835. Even an hour later, it still gave you an opportunity to get in at the same, $3 price, as you could have on this breakout, on this bounce, on this this move into that channel. And what happened? It pretty quickly here made it up to 2R. Going from 3 up to 5 is a nice 2R move. Now again, you're looking at 2075 calls. Let's move in a little bit and see, could you have had the same opportunity with the 2050 call? And we'll look at some of the options here to see what could have worked. Because this was really the only decent move of the day, was this bounce. And knowing that, it came right into a pivot and bounced. Here's another really nice hammer. This one's got a range of 135. This hammer-ish candle is a range of 136. This was a bit harder. You couldn't do 7 by 6 because you were still within these wicks here. You would have had to been filled on this candle and hope that it didn't come back down at all. Even when it moved up, it came back down to this price, didn't come back to 7. This is another really nice hammer. $100 risk on this one, or $100 range on this one would have worked. And had a couple candles after that if you just traded that range. So what candle is this? 950. And 950, that was that candle. That little candle was that hammer. That's crazy. Okay. A little bit of a base here with some of these lows. You have a hammer here, invert hammer, another hammer here, breaks out, goes sideways with a little stair step, pulls back, looks like it's going to break down, holds this low for these 3 candles. So this is where you would have had to be buying this here and a stop down in here. That could have been something like this. Like, I guess you would have had to been buying down here, not buying this range for that to work. So you probably still would have needed a stop down around like 650, something to get below this, or yeah. So you would have had to been buying the low of this, not actually that candle. So maybe 2050 just doesn't give you the great setup that you're looking for with $100 risk. Let's look at 2060 and see if this was any better. Some hammers here, a little bit of range, still about $1 on this. This one's exactly $1. This was 65. This one was 58 again. Hey, that's what we had on that other candle we looked at in 2075 calls. Okay, so with this one, you got a little gap here. Gaps are nice because it should help hold the value. Now, a gap on a 5-minute chart is different than a gap on an option because options will gap. The low here, I'm going to show that. The low here was 460. The low on this candle, 465. What I like about that is it really put in a nice base around 5 by 4. Came down and held that level with this low, with this low, with this low, about that low, and then this low too. Really, again, you could have set up 5 by 4 anywhere after it got above these two candles, and it should have filled you, and you could have just hung on for the ride. 5 by 4 moved up in this case very quickly up to 8 or 9, even up to 7. So 5 by 4 moving up to 7, back up into these highs. It would have been a nice trade for 2R, 3R, or 4R. And even if you had missed this, missed this exit up here, you had another time that it pulled way back and then bounced again with another hammer. Now, this hammer was 120 on the range, but still got back up to $9. So when it pushes up this high and you don't exit, and you're kicking yourself that, I should have exited there. You actually got a second chance to exit at that price up here, which you don't always get. So, at that point, take it. But that was this move. It was, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bullish candles in a row. Makes sense. It's going to pull back. It didn't even pause at 20, 50, 50. Well, then it paused there the rest of the day. So, and as the rest of the day went on and it just held this value, you're out of the money. Your strike is up here at 2060. And all day long, it just lost value. So the stock was going sideways for like all of this. And the option, you can see it's got a little bit of a downward slant. And so it's losing value, and it doesn't get back up to that $9 price again. Well, I'm sorry. Here it did. The rest of the day it did not. So it did have a nice range on this. I mean, it's still, you could have been buying like 650 and getting out at 750 or 8. It had kind of a $1.50 bounce, buying along these lows. You just had to know where the lows were. And it looks like the low stayed pretty steady. Obviously, this low got taken out by this low. You had some squeezes come in. Nothing really moved. But you got some nice guidance from the downtrend channel. You just had to wait for it to actually show a breakout. And, it looked like it had some false ones. So maybe you got stopped out or, lost less than an hour, hopefully. I just extended this to the right. This is that upward slant I had drawn in yesterday on this portion in here to see if, hey, maybe this will do something. It kind of ran into the highs here and here, broke right on through, straddled it through here, hit the high. It didn't really act as a channel other than, again, pulling back over here and coming back up into the highs over here. And we already had that in place from the vertical or from the horizontal here, from the 2025 57 and then the high up here or the pivot up here 2050 50. So we already had some guidelines like that. This uptrend channel, I mean, it does follow along that pretty well today, going up, and it just kind of makes me wonder: are we going to have some sort of just continual grind higher into the end of the week, into Friday, and see if we do something like that? Totally possible. I just don't know what it's going to do. When I was looking at this false breakout and kind of trying to figure out, okay, what's actually happening here, something else caught my eye that I just wanted to sketch in here. A little bit of a, if I can draw straight. All right, let me see if I can end up to do this straighter. This looked like a different kind of triangle like this. Obviously, a breakdown here or a false breakdown. It's very similar in range to this, where we're above it and then come back into this triangle. But if this breaks out, which it looks like it's about to break out, bullish or bearish, we should have this kind of a move for that breakout. So that's like 2060 down to like 2035. So that could be a $25 move. Now we already have a $25 move from this price to this price. That's a really nice $25 move. If it goes bearish, look for that to be out. I mean, this could be pre-market time here, and then it opens up around the same place and comes right down during the day, hits that as like X marks the spot. Totally could work. We could also go from this, if we open here at 20.50.50 and go up 25, that's 20.75. If I extend this one up a little bit, it's probably a little bit higher still. 20.75 is still a bit higher. We would be contending with kind of this high up over here for pre-market, but that's kind of the next pivot to get through. So it's a possibility, or we could just keep going flat, for another day. I kind of doubt that's going to happen just with the excitement we've had with this big move. It is settling down, but this just looks like it's consolidated so well through here. It's like it's just coiling, getting ready to do something. I mean, look at all the squeezes. We had that one, which that did actually move inside of this. And then a second one, third, I'm not going to count that. And then like a fourth. No, I'm doing the ticks wrong. 4 is that. Okay. So, yeah, it's not 4. Anyway, a lot of squeezes over here in this day tells me something's coiling here. If I look at, let's go up a time frame. Let's go look at 15 minute and see what it looks like here. Now the channels are going to jump a bit because we know that they're snapped to the lined up with a 5 minute, because looking at the 3 minute threw them off. So the 15 will probably throw it off. Yeah, that's a mess. Oops. What happened there? There we go. Okay, big squeeze all day, squeezing all day long. Okay, this definitely looks like it's going somewhere, and you can see a little bit better this coiling, this squeezing. Let's look at 30 minute. 30 minute, it's got a squeeze too. Okay, so this is really looking like it's going to do something. This is really difficult to look at with all of that. Look at all these extra. This is just something. This is one of these. Let me see if it'll tell me what it's called. It's this triangle parameter thing I have turned on, but it only shows up on like the 30 minute. I don't know what the settings are, but let's see. It's supposed to give like a preview of the range. Oh, I saw one there. Okay, that one, which already happened, already finished, said it was going to break out and get up to that range. The high of that range is right at 20.75, which I said could happen over here. So let's see. What's going on with this one? This one. It's not showing a range. Is it going to show a range anywhere? I thought it was supposed to show a range, like a target direction range. It's only showing me for this one. We had some of these back here. Same thing here. Here's a nice one. There's a nice triangle. Shows it's going to get into that red area. It did. The very next day it got here, and then ultimately came way down to this pivot, near the bottom of the range down here. I'm going to go up into an hour and see if it cleans any of this up. We should lose a few. Oh, we don't have the triangles. I guess it's working on the 30 minute. That's strange. I'm sorry, it's really hard to see through all of these lines that aren't making any sense now, but even on the hourly, we have a squeeze. This is really looking like it's going to do something. Probably Friday, probably tomorrow, possibly Monday, Tuesday. But I really think this is enough of a rest, even at an hourly, all of this, that the direction should be a continuation bullish. And that's kind of what I'm looking for tomorrow. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see if that's what it actually does. And let me look at one more thing here. Last time we got a good one of these, nice and long. Let's see. Do we have a really nice long squeeze that really moved? We didn't really have a really long squeeze anywhere. We had this here that didn't amount to much. See, it took another day, just going sideways, and then broke out, big. There's a nice squeeze through here. Yeah, there was a nice consolidation on one day, and then got going the next couple of days. We had a bit of this here, but that makes sense to slow down in the couple days before earnings because people are waiting for earnings. And so obviously this squeeze didn't lead to this big move. It was because the earnings that had such a big move. So I kind of discount these. This squeeze here took opened up about the same place and then broke out bullish. So that one is good. This is the longest we've had here for a while. Now again, we are still resting after earnings. We've had, earnings was Thursday. It's been Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we've had 5 days for this to rest, and people are probably, hopefully people are looking at the chart are waiting for it to settle down a little bit more, and it's been doing that. So now look for a move like this. Actually, look for it to break out, retest, and then continue. So not exactly like that, but if I sketch, possibly what can happen. Now, what obviously should happen is, I was drawing something like this. Now, if you throw this in here, I'll include these, and I don't know how to include that wick, but anyway, all I was going to say is if we break out an S curve and continue, we could hit a peak, that's above this peak or something. We could come up as high as this and then come down not as far and do something like that. Now, if we break down, it'll be similar. We'll probably break down and jog around a little bit because there's a lot of supports in here. There's a lot of people that are buying in here. But you know what? A lot of Fridays lately, we've had some bearish moves, including the Friday right after earnings. We had a bearish move that day. So here, if we switch back to the daily, let me look at Fridays. So this Friday was bearish. This Friday was bearish. Which was the Friday? This day was bearish. This was a Friday that was bearish. This was a Friday that was bearish. And I think this was a Friday that was bullish. So four, 1, 2, 3, maybe, I forgot which one it was. 4. Yeah, 4 of the last 4 Fridays have been a bearish candle, just a red candle. Closed lower than it opens, that kind of thing. And a nice hammer here. I would not be surprised if we pulled back and touched the 5 tomorrow, if we did actually break down. And the 5 tomorrow should probably come up to 2025. That would be kind of a, what's it called? Where a bunch of things agree or point to the same assessment or value. I can't remember what the word is. But anyway, it's potential that we pull back to 2025 if we have a bearish move. Now, the other thing we do is we could do that move pre-market and then rally hard from there. And I'm looking for 2075 to be a new high, and then like this uptrend channel, and potentially get up there. So, soon if we have a move higher. If we have a move lower, I think we'll fill part of this gap. But I think we will move. We'll have some bigger candles in the next couple of days, kind of like some of these where we had some bigger moves happening. Be interesting if we do something like this: bearish candle, hammer, bearish candle, hammer. What if we have a bigger gap up tomorrow, like these two did, and gap up here, and then just keep running? That could be cool. But we've never been this high. This is our first time up here, and it's all new territory. But we can still look at what's happened in the past here to see what can happen in those days. Here's a bearish candle and a hammer, and then has another bearish day. So yeah, just gotta watch where it opens and look for candles that are setting up on the 5-minute. That is where I will be looking, and see what kind of direction it's going to establish as the day starts out. See if we get some high wave candles and go in that direction. See if we get some more consolidation, and give it time to retest. Today it just went sideways. This is a huge rest, a huge retest. And, we still had some high wave candles, some hammers that showed us, oh, it's going to break out, or it did break out. And, it held those levels. So, there's been some ways that this has moved nicely. We had the triangle in here yesterday that broke out. So, just get familiar with how this is moving, and let's look for just the right setups. Like this hammer here was much too large, came right into this uptrend channel, and it's just like too big of a hammer to trade up here already. Now this one was similar, and it's a large hammer, but it had the room to move up. This one too. This one's a little bit smaller, had the room to move up. This one is a big hammer after some big candles and a big move up. So it's harder to see that this hammer is actually going to play out to be like 2 times the move and get all the way up here in the next like hour even. Well, I guess I got close, but only really looked like this one up. It came up to the downtrend channel. It didn't move to R, if that's your R, or if that's your range of the candle. It didn't really double that range up here. It was still only a single time that range. So anyway, we'll take another look and see how things moved after tomorrow. But this helps. This is just AMZN. Thanks.